about a month since I originally started the Minecraft server for Bits and Bytes, but with people losing interest in the server in favor of others, I have decided that the server would close for good. It is truly the end of an era, when we would get together and build some amazing things. But now, with the abrupt closure of the vanilla server, many of those ideas would never be finished. Welcome to the Pixel Polygon, and this is Bits and Bytes Vanilla, the archive. Here are some noteworthy creations in no particular order. I originally wanted to make the Bits and Bytes server a minigame server, but when I released the IP to the public, it soon became its own mini-society. And it all started right here, Whale City. Actually, it started right here, the Bits and Bytes Bed and Breakfast. Well, the former one anyway. In its current state, this building has been sold to Total Tower Tech. The front desk was cleared, the guest rooms were cleared, the permanent residences were cleared. Nothing remains of this once dominant building in the entire server. You see, back in its heyday, almost everyone lived at this place. We would have so much fun just building and doing things together. But then, everything expanded until this building became essentially abandoned at this point. That everyone had spread so far out that there was no need for this building in its finished state. An airport and pool were built, but by then it was too little, too late. There are still a number of buildings here despite Whale City declining in population. By the time everyone had spread out, the only people here were Royce, Vrabbers, Aaron, Floppy Disk Drive, Luca 009, Yellow, and possibly a few others. Right beside Yellow's house are 3 colored walls: the warp wall, the advertising wall, and the landmarks wall. Originally, it was only just the warp wall here, and it would constantly be updated, but as soon as new modes of transportation came in, this was eventually neglected. vehicle's plugin was added to the server, Grabbers built a runway, hangar, air control tower, and 2 helipads. Later on, I decided to build an airport over here. It was originally going to be like a real airport with a terminal, baggage check-in, arrivals and departures, and a bunch of signs that said all the flights were delayed and cancelled, food stalls, and all the rest. When the gates were finished, however, the news came that another server would come, so this ended up being one of the many things that were left unfinished. x equals about -7,000 is Victor Tran. Up here in this mountain lives the pretty much well-known smiley face in town. Back when Victor settled here for the first time, there was only just this house here. Later on, there's what I like to call the store boom, where people were developing their own stores. Victor was one of them and opened up the supermarket, where he sold food and potions.
The supermarket was created as a small food and potion shop once I began to brew potions and grow more food than I needed, and I named it Victor Potions. I always made sure to sell the items below market price as a strategy to attract customers. When I was running out of space to grow more products, and when other people asked me if they could supply items to me, I decided to move to a larger, more luxurious shop.
Cameron's shop, Neptunium Company, is not too far away from Whale City. He was having problems with stock though, as people were buying out all of his stock. This resulted in his rule that allowed him to kick people out of his store, and he also implemented a lockdown system complete with an alarm. He was also one of the first stores to implement a subscription-based membership system with different tiers. This was Cameron's second business, as he decided not to continue with his other business and sold his assets to someone else. When I connected to the server one day, I was informed that a new train station was being built by Aaron. It was called AirCS. At the time, there was only one station connecting Central Hub to Whale City. It was here that Aaron also decided to run an enchantment bookstore. But soon, Aaron became less active on the server, but that didn't stop the community from continuing the development of AirCS. Prior to the server's closure, the community has managed to occupy all but a few platforms, and I developed the branding logo, which appeared on pretty much every station there was. Lion Inc. was the server's first and only company that declared bankruptcy. This building used to be the home of Cameron's first business, a material loaning company. Soon this business and its assets were sold off to Nea, better known as Serverlion. Unfortunately for him, a fine ended up pretty much bankrupting him. He laid off all of his employees soon after.
So Lion Inc. was a real estate company that was kind of born out of the moment. So I had bought a building from a shifter for $50,000. And I didn't know what to do with it, so I started by selling both of my old buildings, and I thought, if I can do this so successfully, why don't I try selling some other buildings? So I built a few houses and repaired some, and overall it went pretty good. I had a few customers, obviously not a lot, but then I got hit with a fine because I had repaired a building that I did not know was owned by another player on the server. That fine did cripple Lion Inc. We made our last sales. Then we ended up shutting down the real estate portion, and we were about to become a supermarket chain before the Bits and Bytes server shut down due to inactivity.
Made mostly out of concrete, ProJosh made a building called FCC. There really isn't much information I could give to you, so here's just a bunch of footage from the building. Sandwiched between AirCS and the FCC is this structure. This is my attempt at a recreation of the set for the game show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Originally, I wanted to host a game show on this server where the prize would be the in-game currency, but when I came to the lighting, trying to manually manipulate the lights using blocks became impossible. S-Mart was supposed to be the first apartment store on the server, but I soon began to lose interest in the project. My design originally was going to use all wood, but I ultimately decided to stick with my all quartz design. I wanted to pull off a unique way of item categories where each type was its own room and all the rooms were connected with a walkway. There would also be a plaza with a fountain in the center, but by that point I just lost all interest in continuing the story. Living next to S-Mart is Legal District. The first building here was the jail. This jail was originally comprised of 3 jail cells, but I soon eventually doubled it to 6. When there was an argument going on, people were suggesting that I build a courthouse on the server. By the time the courthouse was finished, the discussion was already passed over, but I kept it anyway for any future quote-unquote lawsuits that would take place. I then came to the realization that the jail and courthouse weren't too far away from each other, and it only made sense to relocate my house in between the 2 areas. The result was Legal District, which I only made known once I announced that I moved my house from Whale City. The name had a nice ring to it, and represented what this area was comprised of: the government buildings. wanted to create a town, he chose a not too remote location, but I could see that he wanted to do more than just create a town. He wanted to run a municipal government. He would have his own town hall, create taxes, and he also wanted to have his own bylaws. Soon, Trey from The Edge joined in and wanted to move his company from Whale City over to the Alee Isle, and soon other people were interested. This is how there are a handful of houses which seem to be finished, surprisingly.
Hello, I am Alee, the original creator of the Alee Isle. So, you guys may be wondering, why did I create it? Well, it's because I wanted to make my own city, just like my other one, which unfortunately that server, which has Pixelmon server, got merged with another one, which may be upset and not make another city on that server ever again. Now, I'll tell you a bit of history about the Alee Isle. One day in the BNB server, I decided to go on an adventure, so as I traveled on my boat looking for land, I found an island. Then I made a temporary home, and I decided to make my own town in the island. Then a day later, I told the people on the server that I'm making a new town. Then The Edge got interested to it. Then we moved from Whale City to my town, and I started working on the next station for AirCS. And I told the Pixel Polygon about it, and he was fine about it. Then another day passed, and Royce wants to make a runway for his plane, and I said, go ahead. And he started making it in the interstate that The Edge made. So, you guys may be wondering, why did I call the island Alee Isle? Well, it's a short story. I originally called Aleeville, but the Pixel Polygon came up with a good name. So I kept the name, and that's the name that he gave me, which we all know and love.
I created the name the Alee Isle after I brought up that this is more of an island than a small village. I suggested the name as a bit of a parody of British Isles. The Birch Lodges is another project created by Pro Josh. Immediately after the AirCS station are two signs that say under development. Of course, now with the demise of the server, this will no longer be possible. This idea formed during the creation of the Whale Highway system. Rappers had the idea to create a town where there would be no roads, but just canals you'd ride boats down. This formed into the Birch Boat Town. It's a small town with only a handful of plots. Once you get off the station from AirCS, or row right in for the edge of town, right here, you would encounter a town where no car or plane would fit in. You'd be met with a town where boating was the only mode of transportation. At least, in concept. There may never be any boats on this canal, just emptiness like the town at its current state. The Whale Highway system was originally created for the traffic control of horses. It connected a few plots, but that didn't stop me from adding the vehicles plugin to the server. Soon people were buying up their own cars for $100 a pop. Yes, the economy was super broken on this server. This was a dominant highway system which soon replaced the old-fashioned gravel walkway. And that really is the end of the original Bits and Bytes Vanilla server. What was originally supposed to become a minigame server ended up branching off into a community-developed world filled with handcrafted creations. It's too bad this can't be further developed by the community, as it was something that was truly amazing. So long, Bits and Bytes Vanilla. It was fun.